Good day, everyone. My name is Herb Nakimayak. I'm a former student at Mount Royal University, and also I'd like to recognize that MRU is on the land of Niitsitapi, the Blackfoot, Tsuut'ina, and Métis Territory, Treaty 7. I'd also like to thank Mr. Cory Cardinal for devoting your time and commitment to Indigenous students and support in working together to achieve further education. As a former student at Mount Royal, Cory was a huge support, and I'd like to recognize that and ensure that you're in good hands with Cory and his staff. I'm going to talk a little bit about what it means to be Indigenous for myself. I'm Inuit, Inuvialuit from the Western Arctic part of Canada, in the Inuvialuit settlement region, and there's about 5,400 Inuvialuit registered in the region, and a lot living around Canada. So where we may live with our friends or families, it means a lot to spend time with family, practice your right to harvest, to fish, and also that means in offices too. I'm a former member of the Legislative Assembly of the Northwest Territories, representing the furthest part of the Arctic, which is my hometown of Paulatuk, Tuktoyaktuk, Saxe Harbor, which is on Banks Island, and Uluhuktuk, which is on Victoria Island. So we deal a lot with Arctic issues, and in the last 10, 15 years, there have been a lot of interest in the Arctic, and especially in our region, where we do have a land claims in place, and we work directly with the federal government to implement our land claim, and also agreements to ensure that our environment and our land use is used according to us and the Inuvialuit Final Agreement, which we live by. Basically, it is our Bible. Like many treaties, ours is dependent on the negotiations with the federal government and the government of the Northwest Territories. We work hard to ensure that our rights are recognized, and as well as other indigenous groups in the Northwest Territories, which there are 7 different languages and a lot of different land claims. So we need to ensure that our rights are being respected, and then also our land claims are being implemented through education, employment, environmental. During my time at the Northwest Territories Legislature, we passed major environmental bills, which now allow, in the past where we develop regulations, to today where we're actually developing regulations and bills with Indigenous groups. So for us, that's a win. And some groups are land claims they're working towards them, and they're not 100% yet, but being Indigenous, we're able to help move governments towards working with Indigenous groups. So in that aspect, like there's a United Nations Declarations of Rights for Indigenous Peoples, which has just passed recently in Canada, which is amazing for us. And the government of the Northwest Territories has ensured Indigenous groups that they would advocate for it, at the territorial and federal level. So we're happy to see that we're making baby steps towards reconciliation for Indigenous people. Talking about residential schools in the past, my grandparents attended residential school. My parents attended residential school, and so have I. So we've seen the generational impacts that it has in our families, in our friends, which, in a sense, lately it's been tough, and a lot of these feelings of anger and despair have resurfaced with all the findings in Kamloops and other residential schools across Canada. So for us to feel a sense of that, okay, this cannot be hidden any further. We need to work together. We need unity and be compassionate to the affected families, and a lot of those are elders now and their families. So we need to ensure that we are doing what we can to move ahead together. With the TRC and all the calls to action, I believe, to renew this commitment, we need to renew it with actions, not just words and beautiful announcements, but actions in partnerships with Indigenous peoples and working with our youth to ensure that we do not follow the cycle again in another aspect, however it may be. So being Indigenous is our realities are different where we are. I just came back home from skidooing last week on the ice in the Arctic Ocean, and it's been. I live in Yellowknife, where we're kind of in the subarctic, but our reality is that that our governments are working for us, our Indigenous governments are working for us, and also we need to look in a sense of what it means for our children in the future. I have grandchildren, and I want to ensure that they don't go through this again. So it's going to take us, as hard as it may be, to break this cycle, and it's going to take many aspects of collaboration and cooperation between governments, Indigenous governments to Indigenous governments, using our advocacy groups to help implement these calls to action. It's also going to take the education into secondary and into post-secondary institutions to partner and change legislation and policies, with governments throughout Canada. Working for the government in the past, I know how slow government moves, and it's going to take institutions like MRU and other universities to take the lead to change these policies to better suit Indigenous peoples of Canada. The Inuit, First Nation, and the Métis. We have an opportunity to make this change. It may take a few years and may take a generation or two, but we see this as a wake-up call for Canada, and I hope that with all the toughness and the resurface of some of these emotions that have come up, I know certainly has in my family. We're going to have to lead the way to make this change. So I encourage the students, the faculty, the elders at Mount Royal, utilize your elders, because from practicing our rights to listening and seeing what the government's responses are, they're finally believing what we have known for 100 years, and that's proof that the government is finally, I hope, coming to the sense of, okay, we need to work with our Indigenous groups. And I'd just like to thank Mount Royal for allowing me to speak for a few minutes. I just want to I want to wish my gratitude to my family, to my friends at Mount Royal and around in the Tsuut'ina, and also please continue the programming that you have going on, and listen, bring in your elders and bring in your youth, and practice these on the reserves and also in your territories, so that these show that we're taking these calls to action loud and clear by taking action. And I'd like to wish you all a happy Indigenous Day, wherever you are. Spend time with your family and take care of one another during this time. I look forward to seeing you again in the future, and I'm grateful for this moment and this time allowed. So, kuya naini, and take care and have a good rest of the day. Thank you.